And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Thursday, March 31st. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. And here are some of the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. A herd of about 90 shaggy wood bison that would mill around the Alaska Wildlife Center near Anchorage represent an opportunity to restore the endangered species to a habitat near lower Inuko River by spring of next year, according to conservationists. But to Representative Alan Dick, a Republican from Stony River, they are Trojan bison. And their arrival on a 1,348 square mile patch of land in the west central Alaska interior will lead to that land being closed off for human use, he claims. Randy Rogers, a wildlife planner for the State Department of Fish and Game, said the organization will not move the bison until the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services and locals negotiate an exemption to the Endangered Species Act. Even without the exemption, he said, the act allows for Alaska Natives or residents of Alaska Native villages to hunt the bison for subsistence. The exemption would also specify the point of which non-natives could begin hunting the bison. Vincent Lang said. Locals use the proposed bison habitat for berry picking and gathering of roots and some moose hunting, said Eugene Paul, the tribal chief in Holy Cross, a village that falls within the boundaries of the release area. Paul said he has not heard any dissent from any of his villages in that area, or Grayling, Anvik, or Shawganok villages near the release area that he represents as a regional tribal council member. A federal judge ordered the closure of Bay Mills Indian Community's latest casino in Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula this week, while he decides if it's operating illegally, as another tribe claims. A Bay Mills switchboard operator said the contested casino in the village of Vanderbilt shut down at midday this last week, according to terms of Judge Paul Maloney's preliminary injunction. A spokesman for the coalition of tribes opposed to the casino also confirmed that the facility was closed. The casino opened in November and is located about 125 miles south of the Bay Mills Reservation in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Opponents say the Vanderbilt Casino is not legal because it's not located on Indian Trust land. The Little Traverse Band of Odawa Indians, which operates a casino about 30 miles away in Petoskey, filed a lawsuit last year to try to force the closure of the Vanderbilt Casino. Some defendants of the Chitko and Tutuni Indians in Oregon want Congress to restore what they say is the state's 10th Indian tribe. They formed a coalition, the Confederated Tribes of the Lower Rogue, and if they succeed, it would be the first restoration in Oregon since the Coquillas regained their status in 1989. The effort could reshuffle tens of millions of dollars that flow into the Oregon through the Bureau of Indian Affairs. That would siphon funds from other federally recognized tribes in Oregon and one powerful group of Indians in particular, the Confederated Tribes of the Seelitz, which owns and operates the Chinook Winds Indian Casino. Seelitz represents close to 5,000 members, culled from 29 tribes and bands from the Oregon region. Seelitz's leadership opposes federal recognition for the group and said so in a letter sent last week to U.S. Representative Peter DeFazio, an Oregon Democrat. Seelitz chairman Dolores Pigsley said the Chutko and the Tutuni Indians are part of the Seelitz band. An archaeologist says the contractor building a garden for a downtown Los Angeles museum on county-owned land mishandled human remains found at the site. Biola University professor Paul E. Lagenwalter made his remarks at a meeting of the State Native American Heritage Commission this week. He says his students were helping Whittier-based Sandberg Group with excavations after the bones were found last November. But after he saw remains being haphazardly removed and witnessed heavy machines was used for delicate excavation work, he sought to disassociate his school from the project. Tribal members believe the 118 sets of bones unearthed at the L.A. Plaza de Cultural of Arts Mexican-American Museum belong to their forebears. A panel of state lawmakers will redraw new boundaries for South Dakota's legislative districts. They decided to hold public hearings this summer in the state's two largest urban areas and on American Indian reservations in the southwest part of the state. The Legislative Redistricting Committee tentatively decided to hold 5 meetings before recommending a plan to a special session of the legislature set for October 24th. Public hearings will likely be held in Rapid City and Sioux Falls and on the Pine Ridge and Rosebud Indian Reservation, all areas likely to present challenges as legislative boundaries are redrawn. The 15-member panel choose House Speaker Val Rausch of Big Stone City and Senate Majority Leader Russell Olson, a Republican from Wentworth, as co-chairs. The 35 legislative districts are redrawn every 10 years to reflect the population shifts reported to the U.S. Census Bureau. The population grew on 4 of Montana's 7 American Indian reservations, with the largest increase, a 24% jump recorded at the state's smallest reservation, according to new census data. Rocky Boys Reservation, the smallest reservation in terms of land mass, expanded by 647 people over the last decade to bring the total population to 3,323, according to the 2010 U.S. Census. The Great Falls Tribune reports the reservation, located near Havre and governed by the Chippewa Cree tribe, still ranks 6th out of 7 in terms of population. The Fort Belknap Reservation has the smallest population, but a much larger area than Rocky Boys. Fort Belknap experienced a 4% population decrease, while the Fort Peck Reservation saw a 3% drop as well. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I want to thank you for joining with us and come back again soon. Miigwech.